All right, all right, all right. Broncos country. Change my little logo right there. What is going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday. Excited to dive into this topic regarding the salary cap. This is one that I haven't really followed too much as a fan in terms of how you manipulate it, but Spot Track has a really cool tool where it allows you to manipulate this cap yourself, whether that's trading or cutting or restructuring different contracts. So, this is a really great feature. As you know, this year we got like 30 plus $1 million of cap space that we got to clear just to get even right now with the salary cap. With the Russell Wilson cap hit, if he is a post June 1st cut, he's going to have a $35.4 million cap hit this year. I mean, that's going to be substantial. And so, what I wanted to show you guys are some things the Broncos could do to create a ton of salary cap space for themselves. This isn't a situation in which we're totally screwed. I don't think that's the case. And I'm interested for you guys to hear what you guys have to say about my idea of how the Broncos might create some cap space in order to give our team a real fighting chance this next year. I think that we could, depending on how we manipulate the salary cap, how we play the draft, all that, still fight for a playoff spot, even if we are starting a rookie quarterback. So I included this link in the description if you guys wanted to use this feature at all. And I wanted to go through and show you guys kind of what I was thinking in terms of how we could manipulate this cap a little bit so that we can have 40 plus $1 million in cap space. So we can go out and re-sign somebody like Lloyd Cushenberry, bring some more help in with the secondary, or get another playmaker in here on offense. So let's go ahead and start with the top. Again, you'll kind of see right here is the cap space that we're working with right now. Obviously, if we wanted to release Russell Wilson, $85 million cap hit if we all wanted it over an entire just 1 year. But if we designate him as that post June 1st cut, he'll stay as a $35.4 million cap hit. That's why you don't see me do anything here with that. But then there are some other players in which we could convert their base salary to the minimum and convert the rest of their contract to a signing bonus, which then I believe can be spread out throughout the remaining length of the contract. So this would, in a sense, put some more money on the books for future years, say 25 and 26 for Zach Allen. But who cares about that right now? We're just trying to get under the cap this year, create some cap space for this year, and I'll let all the cap geniuses worry about how that affects us in the far future. But if we were to take Zach Allen's contract right now, convert that, we're able to save a little over $7 million, knocking our cap space to negative 25 right now. Okay. Now, I thought Mike McGlinchey had a better year than people want to give him credit for. I think Russell Wilson has below average pocket presence, so it didn't help out somebody like Mike McGlinchey. But if we decide to keep him, restructure him, that saves $10 million right now, getting our cap space to just a little under negative 15, which is great. Okay. Now, let's move on to some of our other players here. Who did I have? I had a little note on how I reworked this whole thing. Okay. Let's take Jerry Jeudy. Okay. He's somebody that I think for his cap hit right now, $13 million, also in a contract year. Let's say we trade him for a day 3 pick, ideally probably a 4th round pick or something like that. But let's just say, for instance, the Tennessee Titans could use some more weapons. So let's trade Jerry Jeudy over. We save $12 million there. That is wonderful. And we get another 4th round pick that we could use on a really loaded wide receiver class. Now let's talk about DJ Jones as well. I think some people have thought that he might be released. If we release him right now, we save ourselves $10 million on the cap. We're almost near $10 million of cap space for this year. And let me go ahead and I guess this is like where things get really interesting. We could go to Zach Allen. Oh, we already restructured Zach Allen. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Cortland Sutton. He's a guy that if we're drafting a rookie quarterback, is Cortland Sutton the most explosive wide receiver anymore? No, probably not. But I think he's probably our most dependable one. That is for sure. So it would be nice to convert this base salary to the minimum. Maybe we give him a little bit of an extension as well. Just have him be a career lifelong Bronco. I think that would be fantastic, but we'll have to see. But if we do one of these base salary restructures with Cortland Sutton, that saves us another, $6.5 million, so to speak. You gotta like that. All right. So, yeah, and here, this is a tough one, but he hasn't been healthy the last couple of years. Cortland Sutton or Tim Patrick, if we release him, we save $9.5 million. That gets us up to $24 million in cap space, which is great. Again, that would give us the option to sign somebody like Lloyd Cushenberry, bring them back to the Broncos if we want to do that, or use some of that cap space on bringing in some more secondary players or skill position players, whatnot. Now, on my thumbnail, I had 7 steps to get towards $40 million. This is kind of interesting and a little controversial because if you're going to bring in a rookie quarterback, you want him to have a good offensive line. I still think Denver's offensive line was one of the better in the NFL this past year. Again, I don't think Russell Wilson really helped with that. But if we get somebody in here, let's say somebody that we're talking about a lot, J.J. McCarthy, a guy that I think navigates the pocket pretty well, who will get rid of the ball on schedule, on time, get rid of the ball early. And when you're getting rid of the ball quickly, just like with Peyton Manning when he was here, you can make an average offensive line look better. We can make an average or a good offensive line look great. We can make a great offensive line look elite with that type of quarterback play and pocket presence. But let's say Garrett Bowles, we want to get rid of him. We want to trade him. And let's say we trade him for a 3rd round pick. I don't know which team goes, you can trade for him. And let's say we retain some of the salary. I guess we could retain some of his salary. I think Mile High Huddle was bringing that up recently. And maybe you could get a 2nd or 3rd round pick instead. But let's just say we move off of him. This is a very controversial one. But I will say if we straight up cut him, we only have $4 million in dead money. We save $16 million, which is awesome. Obviously, that's how the cap space gets up to 40, but I would much rather prefer to trade him for some sort of draft capital, and we still save the same amount of money. So obviously, that creates an issue because we need a right tackle or a left tackle. Would we move Mike McGlinchey over to left tackle? I don't think so. Could we get a guy in the 3rd round or trading up into the 2nd round to go get a guy that could potentially start? Maybe. I know that this class is one of the more deep classes as of late when it comes to offensive line talent. Or maybe there's a guy that we can have signed for a stopgap scenario for the next year or two that will come a little bit cheaper than Garrett Bowles, but will do just a good enough job blocking J.J. McCarthy or Spencer Rattler, Drake May, Jane Daniels, whoever we end up getting, right? Their blind side. I guess Michael Penix, if we go with the lefty quarterback, right? That wouldn't be, I guess, as big of a need to have a good to great left tackle. But that's how we can get there, guys. I mean, 7 easy steps. We restructured Zach Allen. We restructure Mike McGlinchey. We can trade Jerry Jeudy. We can release DJ Jones. We can restructure Cortland Sutton, release Tim Patrick, And I mean, that puts us right at $24 million. And then we can trade Garrett Bowles if we really want to create that much cap space. Again, if I understand if we don't want to trade Garrett Bowles and we want to keep him, that's totally fine. We would have the option too if, I mean, say we wanted to move off of Alex Singleton, we can save like another 1.5 million if we want. I'd prefer for us to keep Alex Singleton. And I mean, I guess Drew Sanders, people have been talking about him staying at edge. So maybe we draft another inside linebacker. I think that would be pretty interesting. But yeah, or like Ben Powers, I think will be here for a while. We could restructure Ben Powers and save another $7 million in change or so. So the Broncos do have options. We're not totally screwed if Russell Wilson has this $35.4 million cap hit on here. Now, I will say, if we do want to eat the entire Russell Wilson cap hit in 1 year, let's say, I mean, ideally, it would be really nice if we could just restructure him. You know how we've been talking about doing this for months. I mean, it saves us $12 million, $12.5 million, but that's not going to happen. If we were to release him, then we take on that entire $85 million cap hit. Again, we can decide if we want to split it over 2 years with that post June 1st cut designation, which is the scenario that we just looked at. But let's say we want to clear him off the books in 1 year. We have $81 million that we need to make up with the salary cap. And I mean, let's say we restructure all the guys that we possibly can. Okay. So that's Alex Singleton, Ben Powers, Cortland Sutton, Mike McGlinchey, Zach Allen. I mean, we still have almost $50 million of cap space that we have to clear. So that means, okay, we're probably trading a guy like Garrett Bowles. We're probably, cutting a guy like DJ Jones. We're probably trading Jerry Jeudy. We're cutting Tim Patrick. Okay. And that gets us $400,000 about over the cap. And this includes, guys, I believe this includes the cap space that needs to be allotted for the draft picks that we have, if I remember correctly, with how this works. So yeah, obviously this wouldn't be the prettiest way to do it, but there's a way to get there if they really want to do it. And then I know this isn't a popular take. I would prefer Justin Simmons to stay here, but let's say we can get a 3rd round pick for him. We trade him as well. That gives us plenty of cap flexibility for 2024, even with dealing with taking on the $85 million cap figure hit with Russell Wilson. And then essentially, in our 2025 books moving forward, yes, do we have some larger cap hits to take on with Ben Powers, Mike McGlinchey, Cortland Sutton, Zach Allen because of these restructures? Sure, but it's a lot more manageable when you don't have any of Russell Wilson's $85 million on the books for 25. And it really just comes down to, what does Sean Payton and what does George Payton want to do? What do George Payton want to do? What's great about having the Walton Penner family running this whole thing, owning the Broncos now, is that doing any of these base salary restructures that involve converting salary to a signing bonus, they're always going to have the cash to do that. So it gives us a lot of freedom to manipulate the cap in the way that they would see best fit for the Broncos moving forward. So thanks for listening. If anybody's watching the live stream, I will take any of your questions here in just a minute. Y'all can throw them here in the chat. But I think overall, how I would like to play this is kind of taking a balanced approach. If we need to get up to that $40 million, I'm totally fine with it. But I think what I would like to do is restructure some of these salaries that are possible here with our offensive linemen, with Cortland Sutton. Of course, you release Tim Patrick, you release DJ Jones, you trade Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully you can draft some more defensive linemen there. That would be very nice. But I mean, with this cap hit, you still have $21 million. You can use that to sign some defensive linemen. If you want to go with Forsyth in at starting center, that's really great. If we're able to start Drew Sanders this next year at linebacker, that's even more ideal. Same with Riley Moss at cornerback, along with Jaquan McMillan and Patrick Surtain. I mean, that's just great. That gives us the option at 12. If we really do want to take a quarterback, we can afford to do that. Ideally, I still think we trade down and acquire more picks, but I don't know if Sean Payton is really sold on JJ McCarthy. I don't think you can trade down and bet on getting him. You might have to, in a sense, even trade up to go get him. Maybe you trade a future third or something like that to move up a few spots to go and take him, because we do have to hop the Vikings. They are a potential team that could select somebody like JJ McCarthy right there at pick 11. So we have to keep that in mind. I think if Sean Payton is really sold on JJ McCarthy, I don't see why you wouldn't see him ensure that he goes up and gets him at pick 8 or 7, something like that. Trading a little bit to make sure that this happens. Is it worth trading Jerry Jeudy in a sense to move up to make sure that you can go do that? Maybe you trade him to the Atlanta Falcons to move up. I forget what pick they have, but we'll just have to see. A lot of options. We're going to start getting an idea here within the next month or so how the Broncos are going to play this whole thing. But guys, don't be terrified of this Russell Wilson cap hit. It is absolutely manageable. It's not ideal, but there's a lot of things that we can do, or that the team can do, to get this cap in a decent position for 2024 moving forward in the future. So thanks so much for listening, guys. I really appreciate all the growth that I've seen on the channel. I think I'm at 62 subscribers right now, which is freaking fantastic. My goal is to get to 100 within the next few weeks or so. So if you like what I do, please share this, please subscribe, please comment, trying to respond to all the comments. And if you're interested in following me on Twitter, David Talks Buffs, that's my handle right there. And you can follow my Buffs channel, David Talks Buffs. We're on our way to 7,000 subscribers. It would mean a lot if you subscribe over there as well. But until next time, guys, thank you for tuning in, and go Broncos.